Tsuut'ina Nation's chief charged in 2 historical sexual assaults. Roy Whitney reacts to the allegations. Constitutional or not? Provincial judge reviews a proposed Alberta separation referendum question.
They didn't discontinue my account. They just stole the points.
And a Calgary man's angst after Air Miles retires thousands of dollars in loyalty points.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Camilla Di Giuseppe.
Good afternoon. The leader of the Tsuut'ina First Nation is charged with 2 counts of sexual assault. Stephanie Thomas joins us now near from Tsuut'ina Nation. Stephanie, police say there could be more complainants.
Camilla, Chief Roy Whitney has been charged by Edmonton police for historical sexual offenses against 2 men in the capital city. Chief Roy Whitney has been the leader of the nation bordering Calgary's western edge for over 4 decades. On Wednesday, Edmonton Police Service arrested and charged Whitney in Calgary. The first incident stems from 1994 near 178th Street and 87th Avenue. The second incident comes a decade later, in 2005, also around 178th Street, but at Stony Plain Road. Now, both complainants in these historical offenses were men in their 30s at the time, and both are members of the Tsuut'ina Nation. Now, in a statement, Chief Roy Whitney says, "I unequivocally deny these allegations. They are false and without merit. I believe in truth and due process, and I will fully cooperate with any lawful proceedings to ensure the facts are made clear. Until that time, I ask our citizens and the public to withhold judgment and avoid speculation." Now, hear his defense lawyer.
Chief is adamant in his denial of any wrongdoing. These individuals, he has no involvement with these individuals at all. We don't know the extent of the allegations because, of course, disclosure won't be available until well into September. But the chief is absolutely determined to fight the charges.
Camilla, we should note that Chief Roy Whitney also has no plans to step down from his role as Chief of Tsuut'ina Nation, and he is asking for Nation members to not be distracted by these charges as he continues his role. He's now at home on the Nation. Camilla.
Stephanie, thank you so much. Calgary police have revealed a well-known man in Forest Lawn who was missing for more than 2 years has died, and his death is considered a homicide. Tim Brooke is live from Forest Lawn for us. And Tim, this case stretches back to January 2023.
And that's right. That's the last time, Camilla, that Robert Stanley Mainland, also known as Bubbles or Bobby, was seen just behind me at that convenience store along 17th Southeast. Now, 2.5 years is a very long time to wait. We're excited to report tonight that his family at least has a little bit of closure, because police told reporters today that human remains found at an undisclosed location outside of Calgary last May have been identified as Mainland. The discovery came more than a full calendar year after extensive grid searches were conducted east of the city. Officers believe Mainland was ultimately the victim of foul play, but wouldn't give details as to where exactly he was found or when they think he was killed. We do know Bubbles was apparently very well known here in Forest Lawn, and that he will be very missed.
He was very well liked within his community in Forest Lawn, and I know the community was shocked with regards to his disappearance. And it's our belief, that there are people within the community that may have direct knowledge of his disappearance, and we would ask that they come forward with that information to help us resolve and bring some closure to the family.
Now, police say they're exploring every possible avenue to find out exactly what happened to Bubbles. But as you heard there, they're also asking for the public's help. Anyone watching tonight who may have information about what happened is urged to contact police or submit a tip anonymously through Crime Stoppers.
All right, Tim, thank you. Members of the family of Carter Spivak Villeneuve, who was found dead in Abbeydale on Friday, are sharing their grief. Police are treating the 16-year-old's death as a homicide. Last night, more people dropped off flowers, toys, candles, and notes at the spot where Carter was found unresponsive along Abergale Drive Northeast. His mother was among those who dropped off some red roses. She declined an interview, but in a statement via police, the family shared their devastation over losing their son. One parent who stopped by the memorial tells us she only met Carter recently after he and her daughter became friends.
He's a very sweet boy. Anytime he came over, he wanted to do the dishes with me or play with my stepson and play with cars. So we left a car over there. You could know someone for 20 years and it could mean nothing to you, and you could know someone for like 2 or 3 weeks and they could mean everything. And Carter was that person.
Police have not revealed how Carter died or any details on a possible motive or potential suspects. Residents escaped a house fire in the 200 block of 9th Avenue Northwest in Crescent Heights this afternoon. Crews were met with heavy smoke and deployed multiple ladders and a ladder truck to battle the fire safely. CFD says it started in the basement, but there's damage throughout the home. No other houses were impacted. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. Federal Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre was in Calgary this morning to unveil his party's proposal for a Canada Sovereignty Act. Poilievre, who is in the middle of his by-election campaign for the riding of Battle River Crowfoot, held a news conference at a Southeast Calgary energy company's facility. Poilievre says his proposed act will counter Donald Trump's tariffs and repeal what he calls liberal laws that block oil and gas development.
Donald Trump has imposed unjustified and unjustifiable tariffs on our economy and our people. Now, Mark Carney promised that he would handle Donald Trump. That's a quote. He said that he would negotiate a win with Donald Trump. He said that the deal would be done by July the 21st, and then he said it would be done by August the 1st. Those promises were not kept.
The Conservatives will introduce a motion in the fall sitting of Parliament. A special court hearing started today to determine whether one possible referendum question on separation should be allowed. Alicia Fieldberg joins us from the newsroom. Alicia, what is the concern?
Camilla, some say the question violates the Constitution, including several First Nations leaders who say it would breach their treaty rights. Last week, the province's chief electoral officer asked the judge to weigh in, and that took place at a special court hearing in Edmonton today. Now, the question proposed by the separatist group would ask Albertans, do you agree that the province of Alberta should become a sovereign country and cease to be a province in Canada? Now, the province says that Alberta's government believes that the proposal is not unconstitutional and therefore should be approved and permitted to proceed. There are 2 proposed referendum questions on Alberta's future. The man behind one about Alberta remaining in Canada says the independent electoral officer is allowed to refer questions to court.
Premier and the cabinet should have no influence over the decisions of Elections Alberta. And frankly, the law says that Elections Alberta, when they are in doubt, they should defer to courts and ask courts for their opinion.
You know, are your rights to security of the person somehow offended because your fellow Albertans are being asked a question? Absolutely not. It's a silly question that's being referred to the court. We're taking the position that the referral itself is unreasonable.
The judge will be back next week for a decision on whether or not the separation question will be allowed.
All right, Alicia, thank you. A Calgary man says he's been blindsided by air miles after nearly 25,000 points worth close to $8,000 were quietly wiped from his account. Todd Woodbeck collected air miles for over 3 decades, but recently got a notification that almost all of his points were gone. He also previously spent more than $1,500 to purchase air miles that also disappeared. Air Miles says Woodbeck's points weren't expired. Instead, they were considered retired, which happens when points aren't earned, redeemed, or transferred over a 24-month span. Woodbeck says he wasn't properly notified. He only discovered the issue after using his Air Miles card at a gas station.
I was very angry. Very angry. I mean, I picked up the phone immediately and called Air Miles. And the thing that really bothers me is my card worked that day, and I got 2 points for it. I have record of it. I have printout of it. So they didn't discontinue my account.
Air Miles says customers are warned of inactivity through email. Woodbeck claims his email was outdated and he never got a letter or call. He's now warning others about account inactivity, but hopes Air Miles will return his points as a gesture of goodwill for his 30-plus years of being a collector. Well, this might be the cutest thing you'll see today. The Calgary Zoo has welcomed 2 new litters of Vancouver Island marmot pups. They are one of Canada's rarest mammals and were born through the zoo's breeding program. The Wilder Institute staff built habitat resembling the marmot's home in the wild, allowing the pups to be born underground. In the 1990s, only 30 of these creatures remained, but thanks to conservation efforts, there are now 350 in the wild. Talk about cute.
Yeah. They might be hiding right now, though.
Well, some of that thunder, lightning, but I'm sure they're very nice, safe, and cozy.
Exactly. And I think people should probably follow suit with that approach, because we are under that severe thunderstorm warning right now in Calgary. Temperature really got driven down by the systems that have moved through. We really have a parade of storms rolling over Calgary right now. So we're sitting at 14, hoping to rally to our forecast high 21, but that might not be happening. Look at all that lightning that moved through, and this is what we're seeing right now. The southeast getting pretty rocked by small-sized hail and some heavy rain. The southwest saw it, northwest, northeast. We're all experiencing this unsettled weather right now. That'll continue throughout the evening here. We'll drop down to 11 overnight, and then, yeah, the main event of rain moves in tomorrow. Your 24-hour forecast brought to you by 5th Avenue Volkswagen, where you can win your ride. See dealer for details or visit 5thavvw.com.
Gina, thank you. Some Calgary kids got to try a new sport today, and they learned from the best, an Olympic gold medalist. Also ahead, a milestone is reached for Alberta's HealthLink phone line. And if you have a news tip, text us at 10400. Sport Calgary's All Sport One Day is back later this month. Kids learned how to fence and pose with Olympic champion Kasia Grzyla-Wysierski at South Centre Mall today. On August 16th, kids between 6 and 17 can try more than 50 sports for free. It's a chance for kids and their families to find something new.
Yeah, there's tons of niche sports out there that you can try. Fencing is obviously one of them, and most people don't even know about fencing. Most of the time when I introduce myself as a fencer, people say, oh, I've never met a fencer before. So it's really important for small sports like us for people to have a chance to try it.
And you can sign up for the free session starting at 6 p.m. today at sportcalgary.ca. Let's bring in Gina once again. A parade of storms.
You like that?
I like it, but I also am like, ooh, my car, hail. I don't know. You know, it's the summer worries that we have.
Yeah,
we
are seeing small-sized hail right now in parts of the city, about dime-sized, pea-sized. We'll go with that. And it's in the form of graupel for the most part, so that really soft hail. So not seeing too much damaging hail at the moment, but we do have, again, a parade of storms kind of rolling through right now. So obviously we're under a severe storm warning for a reason. We're at 14 at the airport, so really cooled off when those first rounds of storms moved in. It's 15 in Strathmore right now and 16 over in Bray Creek. Get your daily dose of greens at Serenity Golf Club, just 20 minutes east of Calgary. Now, let's take a look at our temperatures outside of Calgary. 22 in Lethbridge, same in Milk River, and 23 in Brooks. You can see those areas haven't really felt the impact of this big low pressure system over the province quite yet. We have 18 in Red Deer, 17 in Edmonton, and temperatures in the low teens close to the foothills there. So here's a look at our watches and warnings right now. We do have the severe thunderstorm watch in effect for Calgary, so it looks like that warning has lifted, but we are seeing a series of isolated thunderstorms to to the west of us that could once again roll through the city and produce more showers, more hail, and again, lightning as well. And this is a look at the big picture here. You can just see how massive this system is. So it's from the southwest we're looking at right now, but it's going to be the north that's going to impact us later this evening and into tomorrow morning. So I picked up our futurecast here at around 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. You can see the rain is more situated over Banff, but starts to move into Calgary as we get to about 9 a.m. with the most sustained rain looking to be in the morning. Later in the afternoon, that could transition more to scattered showers, but stronger winds out of the north and the potential for some thunderstorms as well. Here's a look at the rainfall for the next 24 hours. We see that big uptick, just like I mentioned, right around 7 a.m. and starting to taper off in the afternoon. Banff starts a little earlier and ends a little earlier as well. And then Lethbridge is going to be later in the day where they see that rain around 11 a.m. in the morning starting and tapering off later in the afternoon. We just got to get through Friday. Then that sunshine returns back into the forecast, warms things up as well, back into the seasonal temperatures, with the exception of areas like Brooks and Medicine Hat. You might have more of a two-day event with this system as it tracks to the east. But there's that sunshine for you in Calgary here. 23 degrees on Saturday, up to 26 on Sunday. A nice stable stretch of conditions till about Tuesday.
An Alberta-wide hotline aimed at connecting residents with emergency services has reached a new milestone. Over the past 2 years, more than 50,000 non-emergency calls have been received through the EMS 811 shared response line. If a call does not meet the criteria to dispatch an ambulance, the caller is connected to a registered nurse at HealthLink 811. About 1/4 of those patients were advised to care for themselves at home, and about 1/3 were advised to see a family physician. Others were directed to dentists, pharmacists, and public health nurses. Albertans should call 911 for health emergencies such as chest pain, trouble breathing, stroke symptoms, major bleeding, or significant trauma. It's been a familiar brand on farms for a century. Still to come, a park near Calgary shows off some vintage Caterpillar equipment. Today, Canadian Tire sales grow, but profits fall. Joining me is Faisal Karmali, Portfolio Manager with the Popwich Karmali Advisory Group. So, Faisal, what happened today on the markets for Canadian Tire?
Yeah, Canadian Tire stock, first of all, fell almost 11%. Not a good sign, primarily because of their profit not going up. Expenses have been a big issue. They've been renovating, they've been buying some items and looking at their loyalty programs. But when you dig into the numbers of Canadian Tire and think of it as a Canadian, a lot of people are still buying. In fact, they're saying that more and more Canadians are buying non-essential items out of Canadian Tire, which is fantastic news. So the Canadian consumer is still strong and becoming more loyal to Canadian brands like Canadian Tire. So even though the numbers are not looking that great from a shareholder perspective, the news about Canadians in Canadian Tire is good for Canadians.
Faisal, let's talk about shipping gas and commodities over to Europe. Canada is eyeing north.
Yeah, if you can't go east or west and you don't want to go south, you might as well go north, and that's where the government of Canada is looking at going through Hudson Bay and or Churchill to go north. Now, if you think of latitude-wise, we're pretty much as close to Oslo, Norway on a latitude perspective, so we could definitely go north, similar to what Russia is doing. Now, this is not going to be a quick process if it gets approved. If approvals happen today, it would still take a few years for this to be built out and so forth. So this is a long-term idea. We're going to find out what the government has to do on a short-term perspective to kind of cushion us from the impacts of the tariff war.
All right, Faisal, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Pioneer Acres is celebrating its annual show this weekend. It's where history comes alive. The park is featuring Caterpillar equipment in its 55th annual show. The brand is celebrating its 100th anniversary. The bright yellow machines are known for their traction over all sorts of surfaces. In the 1920s, they produced smaller equipment for farmers. The park has an extensive collection of vintage Cat equipment. Private owners are also bringing their machines.
Well, it's been a tradition here that we feature a brand every year. So because it's 100 years for CAT, pretty important to feature them and help them celebrate their centennial year.
The show will feature live demonstrations of vintage equipment. Organizers expect about 5,000 visitors over 3 days. We have more show information on our website, ctvnews.ca/Calgary. More reaction is coming in to the arrest of Tsuut'ina Nation chief. Here's Ian White with a look ahead to CTV News at 6.
Camilla, Edmonton police charged Roy Whitney with 2 historical sex assaults, and they say there could be more complainants. We'll hear from a sexual assault victims advocate. Also ahead, a retired Calgary doctor who strongly opposes water fluoridation faces professional sanctions. Camilla?
Ian, thank you so much. Cooling off as the storms roll through right now in Calgary, sitting under mostly cloudy skies, 14 degrees. Gina has details after the break. Gina, you mentioned that the weather or the conditions cooled off. Are we going to see more storms throughout the evening?
It looks like it. I'll have the radar satellite for you in just a moment. But first, why not a little time lapse of the storms that we saw a little earlier this afternoon? Just really cool texture to the clouds there, low lying. But yeah, as you mentioned, Camilla, drove down our temperatures. Before the storms moved in, we were at 19 degrees, aiming for a 21-degree high. Now we're sitting at around 14 degrees. Some sunshine working its back up into the sky, at least in the west here for now. But here's your radar satellite showing over in the Cochrane area there, still a strong chance of more cells rolling through a little later this evening. We're out of the I keep saying extreme, severe thunderstorm warning right now, but we're still under that watch. And then a really gloomy setup for Friday there, thunderstorm risk and rain throughout the day as well. But back into some sunny conditions for Saturday and Sunday. So we just have to really get through tomorrow with those gloomy, cooler conditions. And then we get a nice stretch, a rewarding stretch of sunshine.
Thank you very much, Gina. Calgary's Fish Creek Park is turning into a canvas this weekend as artists compete in a one-day outdoor painting challenge. It's the first ever Canada Paints plein air competition with 8 juried artists racing the clock to capture a surprise location in just 4 hours. The painters will work entirely outdoors, dealing with shifting sun, shadows, and weather. The public is invited to watch the artists in action. Calgarian Doug Levitt, who was painting a scene in Fish Creek Park this morning, is one of the judges.
I think there's an immediate fascination watching something being created in real time. Like there's a depth to this as an audience member that is absolutely fascinating. And if you stick with an artist from beginning to end, like if you watch them for the whole 3 hours, I think you would go through quite a journey yourself seeing that art being produced.
There's also a wild card category open to anyone who wants to sign up and compete. That costs $35. The event wraps up with a public auction of the art. So I dare you, anyone out there who wants to just go out there and compete, that'd be a lot of fun too. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.